sees the means of production, and the like and subscribe button. This is something that I've talked about more in the past. It feels like it's becoming very relevant very quickly. The entire project of liberal modernity, in terms of like the exploitation of labor power, is finding ways to keep slavery but make people not notice. Basically, like, it used to be back in the feudal days that everyone wasn't really a slave, but like, you kind of, like, if you're a serf to a lord, you don't have a lot of choice, you know. And then you lean in on colonialism and the massive like labor boom that you can get by taking advantage of people you literally actually own. You get chattel slavery, right? We all know, we read the history books because they haven't rewritten them yet, which they will soon. Then slavery is abolished, so you get sharecropping, which is kind of basically slavery, at least in terms of like labor exploitation, just a few technicalities switched around. And you also have like the brutal, modern like bourgeois proletariat dynamic of like 50 guys live in one room in a tenement apartment, then they go and work a 12-hour shift at the local factory, which isn't slavery and it's not even sharecropping, but you'll feel like a slave when you're dying of black lung at 28 years old. Being attended to by your 17 children who all work at the same coal mine that you work at. Anyway, life has on average gotten better for most people, but the fundamental goal has always been like, how do we find a group of people we can really f over? And in America today, there's two groups: undocumented immigrants and prisoners. We use our prisoners for slavery. Our prisoners are used to fight fires in California, very famously, very recently. But prisoners make lots of stuff. They make soap. They make clothing. They make license plates. They're used. This is not like them fulfilling their civic responsibility or whatever. This is private companies profiting from their labor. They get paid basically nothing, and they have very little choice in the matter. And then, of course, with undocumented immigrants, you don't do the work, you complain about the conditions, you get deported. So, not great. So, I ask you, now that we're reverting back to like a kind of, I don't know, techno-feudalistic fascism, where we have like 5 oligarchs who rule everything and everyone else can eat shit, what do we do to further magnify this distinction with like, how do we, like, because we're getting rid of illegal immigrants, right? Like, we're supposed to be doing that, right? We're not doing that, like, not really. We have to keep them around because they're easy to exploit. But like, how do we work on this? How do we bring back slavery in whatever capacity is possible? Well, I've got good news for you. Nayib Bukele, the president of El Salvador, who very famously imprisoned like 1% of his entire country, which admittedly did deal with a very serious gang problem, but he did so in a very cruel and, we'll say, extra-legal fashion. Well, last stream, we talked about Trump talking with Bukele to send migrants to El Salvador regardless of where the migrants are from. Like, if you have migrants you want to deport and they're from Mexico, Guatemala, Venezuela, Colombia, whatever else, send them to El Salvador. Well, I've got more good news. Marco Rubio says El Salvador has offered to accept deportees from the United States of any nationality, including Americans. Prison colony! Let's go! No human rights, no oversight, no media. You want a journalist to look in the conditions of the prisons in El Salvador? Bukele will just shoot them. All of the protections, all the rights you have as an American, already very violated in our prisons, mind you, but you can say goodbye to all of them. These sound like actual camps? Yerp. It's pretty bad. Marco Rubio left El Salvador on Tuesday with an agreement from that country's president to accept deportees from the U.S. of any nationality, including violent American criminals now imprisoned in the United States. Now think for a second. What does Bukele get out of this? Money. And contracts from private corporations who are going to help build those prisons and run them. Obviously. And slaves! Which is the relevant link here. Is it this one? No. Is it this one? No. It's this one! 40% of our prison population is already repaying its debt to society. In return, they receive a shorter sentence and learn a skill. This program is not available for rapists and murderers. So good news to you guys. Look at that. It's a sweatshop. Woo! Look at all those people. American citizens toiling away in an El Salvadoran sweatshop if you get arrested by the current regime. Political prisoners? You betcha. Why would you keep enemies of the state in America where they can benefit from the rights of an American citizen, the laws of the state that they're in, when you could just send them down here? Pretty good. Trump's also letting TPS expire and lumping them with migrants. My stepmom's family defected from Venezuela to live here under TPS. It's just a husband and wife with little kids. Really. Yep. Hope they don't get sent here. What's going to happen to rapes and murders? Put in general pop, I imagine. Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Oh, by the way, if I'm remembering correctly, and I remember this very specifically, Elon Musk quote tweeted this and said this is the way. Just in case you're wondering what the intentions are here, like how obvious they're being with it, Elon Musk, the president of the United States of America, literally said yes to this. Like, yes, American citizens toiling in El Salvadoran sweatshops. Yes. Wasn't his robot supposed to replace this? No. They were supposed to increase the shareholder value of the Tesla. What's the difference between that and Soviet gulags? Well, Soviet gulags are cold. El Salvador is quite warm. So are Teslas being made in El Salvador now? It wouldn't surprise me. Look at this. Breaking. El Salvador and the United States have agreed to a plan to hold some of America's worst criminals in El Salvador's CSOT, considered the least fun prison in the world. Let's see how the thugs of Chicago, Atlanta, New York, LA, etc. enjoy the vacation there. Retweeted by President Bukele of El Salvador. I wonder what he means by thugs. So this is being referred to aspirationally. Yeah, we've all seen these video clips. There's only that many video clips from within these prisons because, you know, they don't have freedom of the press over there. At least not the way that we do. I'm no longer jealous of you America bros. That's the goal here. That's the goal here. We have offered the United States of America the opportunity to outsource part of its prison system. I love how straightforward it all is, you know? We are willing to take in only convicted criminals, including convicted U.S. citizens, thank you for the clarification, into our mega prison, CSOT, in exchange for a fee. That's great. The fee would be relatively low for the U.S., but significant for us, making our entire prison system sustainable. That's what I want a prison system to be, you know? Sustainable. This has 176,000 likes. It's gotten a bunch of positive attention from conservatives. Conservatives see images like this and they're like, yes, I would like American citizens to be here. That is good. This is what they want. Libertarians must be salivating at this. Bukele does consider himself a libertarian, which obviously, you know, it's pretty bad. I don't understand the appeal of this from a conservative perspective. You do mass arrests of your enemies and you send them and black people to a foreign country where they become slaves. What isn't appealing about it to a fascist? It's literally like the most them thing imaginable. It would be exorbitantly expensive. Who the f cares? That's not the point. I mean, you'll forgive me for going to the obvious comparison, but the was not like a sensible economic decision during wartime. Like leaving aside the morals, which you shouldn't. But even if you were only to look at it from an economic, this is actually one of the arguments deniers make. They'll be like, why would the have happened if it cost money? And then you have to say, like, well, you don't care about money. You care about hurting people. You don't care how expensive it is to be Hitler. You just want to be Hitler. Like, you're still like that today. The U.S. government cannot deport American citizens, and such a move would be met with significant legal challenges. The State Department describes El Salvador's overcrowded prisons as harsh and dangerous. On its current country information webpage, it says, in many facilities, provisions for sanitation, potable water, ventilation, temperature control, and lighting are inadequate or non-existent. Bet you this is going to get deleted soon. Not being facetious, I think it will. They deleted all the information on HIV from the Health and Human or the CDC's website. Screenshot it. That's illegal. It's crazy that all of El Salvador has a lower population than LA County by like a significant amount. Yeah, Vaush, I was editing a video the other day about the tariffs and I genuinely thought I was going insane for a moment, only to find that a Reuters article had literally been substantially rewritten to be favorable to Trump after he cucked out. The deletions and self-censorship is coming. Oh yeah, for sure. It's been happening for a while. Most of mainstream news was doing it with Israel too, you know, rewriting their articles so that anytime anything even remotely like, you know, condemnatory came out towards Israel, they would like, you know, make sure to puff it up with enough abstractions and vague, you know, storytelling. Happens pretty often. What language do they speak in El Salvador? You guys should learn it, you know, just in case. Is it Spanish or Portuguese? It's Spanish? Okay. Let's see. Yeah, pretty much everyone there speaks Spanish. I wonder how different it is to Mexican Spanish. Probably like a slight difference, but not too bad because they're not that far apart. Portuguese is only in Brazil? Okay, okay. I'm sure there's some bleed over, but okay. It's fine, Vaush. You've got it down pat already. Do you think the El Salvadoran gang members in the prison will all be cooped up with will appreciate the hard-hitting knocks of Los Angeles boy, you know? Pretty fly for a white guy. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, cinco, seis. Like that one. Do you think they have that song over there? I could introduce it to them. They'll hear how you say you love, how you say Bolivia, and they'll know you're one of them. That's true. All right. Let me send this one off to the mines, and we'll keep going. It's a good title for that. Like, Vile Nihilist. I'm not listening to the audio. I'm not listening to the audio randomly provided by a chat. It's never happening. I'm never doing that. New prison colony just dropped. Nah, that's not enough. Would like literally like American citizens to be sent to El Salvadoran sweatshops.